Do you think that men in, like, let's say the Western world, this country and your country, have become softer in the past, like, 5 or 10 years? Like, less courageous, less strong?
I wouldn't know because I didn't date any men 10 years ago.
Let's go 5 years. 5 years ago.
I mean, mentally, right? Or
Yeah,
like,
I just mean in terms of having courage, right? To do difficult things, to, for example, come up and talk to you, right? If a guy likes to look at you and he wants to say, hi, you're beautiful, like, I want to meet you. Do you feel like guys have become a bit, like, softer and weaker?
no, I mean, if someone comes up to you on the street and they're normally not your type at all, the guys that you actually like, they never come up and say hi to you. It's always like that. You're never interested in anyone that comes up and says hi to you.
So what kind of guys do come up to you and say hi in London?
A lot of older guys or guys that are...
When we say older, are we talking like 50s, 60s,
No.
70s?
like 40s.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you don't like that?
It's just, I feel like they should know better. Like, they should look at me and think, okay, this is a mid-20s girl. Maybe she's not interested in a mid-40s guy.
But how does he know that you're not interested in a mid-40s guy?
I think most girls prefer guys within 10 years of their age.
Is that true?
I mean, for me, it's true. Personally, it's true.
Okay, interesting. Do you guys use dating apps? Or if not, how do you meet guys?
I used to.
Yeah?
I mean, I'm in a relationship right now,
Okay.
so
How did you meet him?
we met at a bar
Nice.
in my hometown.
Slightly more traditional.
Yeah. But I feel like there's a difference from meeting someone out than it is to meet on a dating app. But I mean, I used to use dating apps quite frequently, I would say. It's fun, yeah.
Is it fun though? Aren't the dates, don't they all seem like copies of one another? Like, do you find that when you meet someone on a dating app, the dates go a certain way each time? Whereas if you met someone in a different environment, it's almost like a bit more unique or different. What do you think?
I have been on multiple dates on dating apps that have gone very different.
Okay.
Because it depends on also because maybe I don't have a type, right? So I guess that makes a difference on the person. But
Just handsome, but not too handsome, right?
I have a boyfriend and he's very handsome, I would say. No, but I didn't meet him on a dating app either.
Where did you meet him?
Through her boyfriend, actually.
Nice, I love it. You guys helping each other out.
Yeah.
So, toxic masculinity, right? Thinking about that. Do you think toxic masculinity is like a part of masculine energy that's been taken too far? Or do you think it's almost like an illusion of masculinity and something completely separate? Like, is it on the masculinity spectrum or is it an illusion?
I think it's
of
hard for us to
masculinity?
comment on that because as you know, we're both cis women, so it's difficult for us to, not cross that boundary with,
Yeah,
it's not entirely our place to
I
comment.
think you're in the perfect position. I don't know if I don't understand it for myself. I don't actually know what that means. I guess your experience with men and maybe facing certain situations would give you a better idea than me.
Maybe. I think societally, kind of we all come into this world and we're all immediately put into boxes anyway. And I think at the moment, particularly through social media and the use of just more widespread media, it's been really lovely to see the younger generation being so comfortable being themselves, and you see that through fashion, you see that through clothing, through gender expression. There's a lot more fluidity in that than there was when I was at school. It was very structured gender norms, and I think the slight disintegration of that in this younger generation coming up is really exciting to see, and it's a really exciting thing to be a part of and to watch. I kind of wish it was that way when I was younger, but I think it's changing, and I think for a lot of men, I can imagine it's really difficult feeling like you're stuck in that societal expectation of yourself.
I think there's a lot of pressure on men to kind of fit into a certain box. I think with women, there's not that same pressure. You could, women naturally are encouraged to have a more fluid identity, whereas I find myself, whenever I've had to deal with men that I don't necessarily get along with, that I feel that are being quite toxically masculine, I end up usually feeling sorry for them because they have this pressure to be a man. But what does that mean? Kind of like, I think it, when you said it, it's kind of like, is it an illusion or is it? I feel like it's this kind of toxic masculinity that we see, especially with what's his face? Who's that guy on TikTok that everybody's talking about?
Oh, that like Andrew Tate guy or whatever.
Yeah. That's a delusion.
Yeah.
That's an absolute.
Oh my
no,
God.
honestly, like I do not find him masculine at all. I think he's immature.
It's sad,
He's like a wee boy.
ultimately,
Like
isn't
he's
it?
like a
Yeah.
wee boy, and no wonder most of his fans are young, impressionable, like teenagers, because that's
It's like
who he's
preying
catering
on that,
for.
yeah, and preying on that insecurity is sad. And ultimately, I mean, you read his comment section, you know, for thankfully the masses are kind of siding with the majority of the population, but it's disappointing and it's upsetting to see. But
And I'm worried for young men that are going to feel like they need to. That's the kind of man that they want to grow up to be, because that's not. We don't need more people like that in the world. We need more. We need more caring. We need more empathy. And I think as soon as you kind of idolize somebody who exploits women and doesn't see them as real people, it's kind of worrying.
Hi guys, so that was an interesting conversation and interview. I know a lot of the language that you heard on there, particularly the guys that watch this channel, is going to be a bit triggering even to you, right? Whenever toxic masculinity is brought up, well, a lot of the words and the language, maybe you're shaking your head. But what I want you to recognize is that they were actually respectful, kind, open-minded, because I was being the same way to them. There were a few questions that I really wanted to ask them, particularly when they said that men have a lot of pressure and expectation to be this certain image of masculinity that perhaps the world doesn't need right now. What I wanted to ask her was, do you think women have the same pressure? Do you think women have the same pressure to conform to a certain image of masculinity and, let's say, maleness in their lives today? Because I think that would be quite an interesting thing to explore. And the other thing I wanted to ask about is the feminine expression of toxic masculinity. What is the same representation on the other side of the gender angle? So I want to interview a lot more people about relationships and why these relationships are hard, to help you guys figure out what's actually on women's mind, because sometimes it can be very difficult to know what they actually think. And when we have a lot of very specific influences in our timelines, particularly Mr. Tate himself, it is a form of brainwashing. Whatever you're listening to, whatever channels you're exclusively listening to, they are brainwashing you to a certain extent. And it is always good to get the other side. Even if you think you have strong opinions, you start to just adopt, without realizing it, the ideas of other people. And not all of the ideas from one person are going to be the ones you want to adopt. You've got your own mind, and you need to protect the boundaries of your mind and only allow in the information that you actually agree with. Listen to it all, but only take on board what you actually believe, right? So I want to get this multi-varied perspective on relationships in London. If you want to talk to me about it personally and figure out where you stand and how you can get better and how you can improve your own standing within the sort of dating market here in London and across the world, get in touch and join my community. I've now got 13 people in my community. We're starting on November the 1st. A tribe of guys who are all on the journey to self-ascension, to making themselves better, stronger, healthier, and you can be a founding member of this community. So get in touch with me, we'll have a call, and I'll take you through it. Thanks, guys.